Welcome to another episode of the Trust Issues Podcast. I have a question for you. Are you interested in creating your own online business in 2025? Better yet, are you interested in creating your own digital products, but maybe you're feeling a little overwhelmed with all the technical side of things between the course builders, the email platforms, calendar bookings? All of it can be very overwhelming, and I'm not going to lie, very expensive. There's so many different platforms out there that are very overwhelming. But what if I told you that there was one platform where you could do all of these things and so much more in one easy to use place? Today, I'm chatting with the founder and CEO of Stan. John Hugh is honestly an incredible founder, but someone who has really seen the gap in the creator space. And the last 3 years, he's helped tens of thousands of online creators become business owners with their own business through Stan. Stan Store is an all-in-one creator platform that allows you to host all of your courses, your digital products, your bookings all in one place. And that means you don't have to pay for 5 different apps anymore. You can literally use everything in one place on Stan. Your entire workflow is on Stan. And it's really easily housed because it can all be a link in your Instagram bio. It's mind-blowing, honestly, how affordable it is, but honestly, how easy it is. And I'm not trying to sales pitch you here because I'm really, other than being an affiliate for Stan, because I am super obsessed, this isn't a sponsored episode. This is literally just me being curious and wanting to bring to you a really insightful conversation with the founder of Stan, because I truly believe that in 2025, there's so many moms who want to create their own online business. And if you're wanting to do that, apart from partnering with a company or apart from being an affiliate for a product that you love, owning something that is your own with your own digital products is the best way to start your online business. And I truly believe that this is the side hustle of 2025. And this is something that I wanted to bring to you because it's helped me. I have been a Stan Store user since 2023. I have my own digital products. I was able to reach over $100,000 in sales with Stan within 8 months of opening my Stan Store. And I did it honestly through sharing and doing everything that John talks about in this episode. So seriously, pull up a chair. You're going to want to take notes. You're going to want to grab a pen and paper, dive into this conversation with me and John. And hopefully by the end of the episode, you'll be inspired to start your own Stan Store. Welcome to the Trust Issues Podcast, the show where we question everything society tells us about how to live, work, eat, and be. I'm Erica Auckland, a mom, entrepreneur, and advocate for living life on your own terms. Here we challenge the status quo, from the food we feed our families to the way that we build wealth and well-being. You'll hear unfiltered conversations with everyone from farmers, financial experts, and everyday people who are doing life differently, all with one goal: to help you live healthier, freer, and more abundant. If you've ever felt like there's more to life than following the crowd, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. John, welcome to the Trust Issues Podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, John, my biggest question for you, being a mom myself, how does it feel knowing that you've pioneered a movement with Stan and that you have helped empower probably at this point with thousands of moms, thousands of women.
Tens of thousands now. Tens of thousands of moms have
Tens.
made income for themselves. They own their own business through Stan. Yeah.
Tens of thousands of moms who are using Stan to build their own business, create a profitable side hustle, which many of which have turned it into a full-time hustle. How does that feel?
It feels really emotional, actually. For folks who don't know my story, I grew up with an immigrant single mom. Like, we came over here when I was just 6 months old. My mom escaped like an abusive relationship and back in China, and we moved to the South, which at the time wasn't the friendliest for two Asian American immigrants. And I only say that to say that my mom worked really fucking hard. The emphasis there is she sacrificed everything for me. Through that, she gave me all the right values, gave me the right work ethic, everything. And so now when I think about all of her sacrifices that she had to make on herself just to make sure that I was okay and that I could make it, it's been really, really beautiful on the other end now. When I first started Stan, I didn't expect how many moms would get to use Stan and benefit from it. But I think of all of our most successful customers, at least half of them are moms. And I think it's because moms are so savvy and so intelligent, and they just get shit done, right? You have to be present for your kids. But I think of Abigail Pugh, such a phenomenal case study of someone who's threading the needle between being hyper successful in her own career while also being hyper present for her family, right? Like her story is her husband had a stroke 3 years ago now, and she was only doing a little bit of UGC content. And she, like, as all super moms do, was like, shoot, like I gotta take matters in my own hands. And over the course of 6 months, hustled to learn how to build an audience, and it's just crossed the 2 million mark on Stan, right? And it's, and what I think about is like the old times, like society told us like, oh, you can either be present with your family or you can be a career woman. And this is the first moment in all of society that I've seen recently, this opportunity that we're seeing. You can be both. You can actually like step aside and like take an hour or two to work on your online business and then go back to being like a present person for your family and still like build the life that you want in that way. And so all that to say, it gets me really emotional, and it's one of a couple things about Stan that get me really passionate about what we do.
Wow. How many millionaires are there now? How many Stan
Oh, there's
millionaires?
a lot. Um, Over the last 2 years, we've at least minted a couple dozen, and Kim, we only started like 3.5 years ago. So it's, and we'll see like probably a magnitude of 10x on that in the next like year or two for sure. Yeah.
Dude. I mean,
All
obviously,
self-made, by the way. All self-made. That's the cool part.
and obviously, you know, as I'm so excited to interview you on this because our listenership is moms like myself who are we're in it every single day. You know, we are making breakfast, we are posting our Instagram reel, we are sharing our Stan store link, we're sharing whatever digital product, you know, that we have created in our reel or Instagram stories. And, you know, it's not lost on me that this is my life, that I literally get to be present with my kids, like what you're saying about Abigail's story, which inspires me so much. She's an epic human. I love that girl. Just being able to do that. And it's like you are saying, it is a completely new economy. It's a new way that moms get to do work. The other morning I was sitting with my husband and I was like, we don't have to rush. Just the fact that I get to live an unhurried life, like that is luxury. And I truly have so much to credit Stan for, but I want to get into it for our listenership who wants to start, because there's a lot of people who they're like, yeah, that's cool for you, John. That's cool for you, Erica. Like you guys can do it, but that's not for me. And I think I just would love for you to share a beginner starter kit for the person who's listening and who wants to get started because they want to have that reality. What is the first thing that you would tell someone, a creator who's coming to you and maybe they're, you know, have a couple thousand Instagram followers? They're like, I don't really know where to start with my Stan store. What is the first thing you would do to help them create their first $1,000 through their
So
Stan
it's a
store?
lot easier than they think. I can promise you a lot of them are probably overthinking it. And I'll give a mom as an example. One of my favorite accounts on Stan, her name is Motherboard Press. If you're a busy mom, you should go follow her. Carrie, she's wonderful. Also a Tennessee native as well. Um, so Motherboard Press, what Carrie teaches about is she has two kids at home, and she was a teacher at the time. And we're all just like super stressed trying to take care of our families and also like stay sane and all that stuff. And what she realized as she was creating all this content about just being a mom, like, but people are like, oh my God, what content am I going to make? What have you? Just make whatever you're passionate about. Like, what is the value you can provide in this world? And for her, she's an organizer and a planner. And she's created all these systems for herself to actually like stay sane and like make sure like, hey, like I have time to feed the kids and like also time for myself. And she has like mom time allocated, all these kinds of things. And she realized that, hey, I have like a little calendar that I use in my own life. It's my own system that I created. And we all have examples of this, of our own little process or system that we've created for ourselves. And so she just put that into a little document online on Notion, or like you could do a Word doc. And her first 50K or so, she sold her Motherboard Planner, which was just her own personal organization system. She just like saved a raw, empty file of that version and offered that to her audience. And it was super aligned with what she was already teaching, which is like, how do you stay sane as a mom?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How much did you say that she did?
She's done much more than that at this point, but her first and only digital product was just like a motherhood day planner, like a little digital file product. And that was like her first 50K.
Wow. From a Notion guide. Listen to that. Okay, so you're saying start with something that you're passionate about. I think you and I both know, being business owners, that passion is part of it. What are some other aspects of what makes a digital product idea successful? You know, it sounds like this specific person you're sharing, also a Tennessee native. I'm going to have to reach out to her and befriend this woman, but it also solved problems for people.
Yes.
So can you give us some other
Yeah.
pointers of what's a good digital product idea?
Yes, you just highlighted a really key point to anything that you would ever buy in your life. It's to solve some sort of problem in some way, right? You want to figure out what is the value you can offer in this world. So I'll give myself as an example. Like my first job out of college, I cold called my way onto a job on Wall Street. Like I had no connections. And so when I was first thinking about what kind of content I could post, for me, it was just teaching how I did that. So it's like, how do you as an underrepresented group, if you have no connections, whatever you want to do, get your first dream job? So I was helping solve a problem there, which was, by the way, it's just, I think one of the easiest ways to do this is to ask yourself, like, what kind of values, like, what did the little kid version of me or the younger version of me, maybe a couple years ago version of me need to hear? Or what advice? Because you've earned that wisdom. And so for me, I was just teaching people like how do you like network your way into even getting an informational interview with these like big institutions that are like really gatekeepy. And through that process, I had lots of comments like, hey, like, can you help me with my resume? So my first digital product, I was solving a problem for people. I literally just logged into my old Dropbox. I had to like recover the password. And I found my junior year internship resume that I submitted to get my internship. I didn't change anything. Like it's all the same bullets. Like, and I just uploaded that into my Stand store. And that's how I made my first 10K. And it was like $19. Point being is solve someone's problem. And another way to reframe that for you, Erica, that I think about is as well as not only solving someone's problem, but I want you to think about the transformation. You're taking someone from point A to point B. And the better you can sell that transformation, most obvious examples like weight loss, like, hey, you're at this specific weight, this specific guide is going to help you lose 30 pounds as a busy mom in between like picking up your kids and also like being present and doing your career stuff. Like those are the ways to really think about how do you optimize cutting through the noise in the market is like, how are you going to solve someone's problem and specifically help them visualize the transformation from point A to point B?
Mm-hmm. So good. Wow. I love to hear your beginnings of what your first digital product was
Yeah.
because I think that's something super special. Not a lot of founders are actually selling what they tell other people to sell. So you have that experience that, like, I'm going to remember that. That was really good. What about the person who says, well, there's a lot of saturation, or like you said, you mentioned weight loss, right? There's so many people who are sharing a weight loss product. There's
Yeah.
so many people who are sharing a solution for moms to stay organized at home. What do you say to that person who is saying, well, there's a lot of saturation. Like, how am I going to stand out in this sea of saturation?
No, yeah, people have been saying that line for years, not just about social, but every other market opportunity in the world. I get the benefit of seeing the macro perspective of this. Like we now get to serve 60,000 plus creator entrepreneurs. We know how things are trending and they're trending up still. A couple of things that I'd help people submit why it's very far from saturated. Number one is social media isn't just social media, y'all now. Social media is just the new marketing channel. Like the new way that any business in the world connects with their customers is not the legacy TV, print ad, what have you, that you have to pay money for, what have you. Just the new way that every entrepreneur and every business at this point is going to connect with their customer, because this is where all of our attention is on social, right? And so you have this massive amount of social media attention that still has yet to be like fully like focus on the business world. And so there's still this massive opportunity there. Like you can just think about the macro trends of like where we're all paying attention. So that's the first realization is like, well, if you're not doing social, like, and building your own brand, like, what are you going to do just in general? Like, what's the next best alternative? It's worse than that. The second thing to think about is really, really important. And I've seen it play out time and time again from the data. You don't have competition if you are the niche. As in, like, yes, there's broadly like thousands of people who actually are helping fitness, people with fitness, but like there's always been millions of personal trainers. Only some subset of them are on social, but none of them are you. And specifically, what I mean by that is, yes, people are there to lose weight, but are they specifically there to teach you how to lose weight with the story that you specifically have, and therefore the kind of person you can specifically and really uniquely talk to? No. And so the thing I'd push folks to think about if they're thinking about like how do I get started and really differentiate myself is the quote, escape competition through authenticity. The
Mm.
more you're yourself, the more you share your story, like the more you like are proud of whoever you are and your background and like what you feel and your values and what you care about, the more you put that out in the world, the more you will differentiate yourself amongst all the other people who are just like probably like, oh, like here's fitness. It's like, no, this is my specific story and like why I love fitness, how it changed my life, how I feel really passionate about helping you with that as well. So
So good. Okay, you mentioned trends.
yeah.
So trends, obviously you being the CEO of Stan, what are some things that are, because I think I remember seeing like digital products in 2022, 2023. It was like everyone and their mother wanted a digital product or was creating a digital product, which that's my perception in my tiny bubble, right? So
Yeah.
I want to highlight that to our listener because I think our listener is thinking, well, everyone has a digital product, right? And I love what you said about sharing your story and being uniquely you. Co-sign on that. However, I'd love to hear from you because I think there is still so much space in growth
Yeah.
in the digital space of digital education, people wanting digital products. What are
Sure.
some trends that you're seeing in the numbers that you guys are running of how much growth is going to still happen in this industry?
I think we're just in inning one, and I'll tell you specifically why. I'll actually use Amazon and Shopify as a metaphor here. So in the early days of the internet, in the '90s, oh, that's crazy, 35 years ago. Seems like just yesterday, doesn't it? But like
Yes.
late '90s, what have you, we started the internet started moving physical shopping online. And if I assume all the moms here like remember the days of like when Amazon, like the .com bubble and all this kind of stuff. Um, People are like, oh, saturation in the physical goods e-commerce space. And like people are like calling the top of Amazon when it was like worth nothing compared to what it is today in like 2000, 2001. And so we've now seen that e-commerce penetration on physical products is like still surprisingly low, maybe like 20, 30%. I don't know the exact number, but it's low. And the point being is like we've created like a little $1 trillion company, and then think about all the physical commerce brands that have started. That's like another $1 trillion at least worth of like business value for physical goods. And so what we've realized as human beings since then, over the last, let's say 5 to 10 years, and not very like this is why the market opportunity is still really early, and like why I think folks should jump in now, is the first wave of the internet was commoditizing, like the commodification of physical products and moving them online. But if you think about, there's a whole other side of the economy. It's like when they do these GDP reports, they're like the physical goods economy, and then they call it something the services economy, which is just us like as knowledge workers. Like what a digital product is just the monetization of your knowledge or your like essence of a human being, right? That's if you really think about it. And so what's happening is the entirety of the services economy, which I want to say is like 2 or 3x the total scale of value of the physical goods economy. It's just that moving online. Like a digital product is just like a packet of your knowledge or your packet of your expertise, or like booking a coaching call or hosting a community on Stand, whatever that is just you learning how to productize your knowledge within the services economy. And services can be anything from like consulting and knowledge in that way, but it can also be entertainment, like art and dance and music is all in that as well, like just vibing, for lack of a better term. And so just to give people a sense of like how large the market opportunity is over time, it's just like that focus on like, oh, the services economy is moving online and like we're part of that. So that's like the broader trend of like what we're seeing and why we're still in inning one. In terms of like really specific trends that I'd look to hop on if I were just starting right now, I'm actually struggling to think of like a specific trend because the fundamentals are actually just the same, which is people actually just get caught up in like, what's the new trending thing? And I kind of want to like lightly smack them across the head and be like, yo, chill, just persist and be authentic. Like just be yourself and then actually take the steps to build your business online and you will figure it out all yourself. Because the trends come and go, but if you really want this lifestyle, I mean, Erica, you know this. How many years have you been at this for?
I've been a creator for since 2000. I mean, online since
Yeah.
2009.
How many thousands
Started
of
my first blog in 2009.
yeah? How many thousands of trends have come and gone?
Oh my gosh, I can't even count.
Yeah,
But
truly.
at the end of the day, which anecdotally, I can share with you what I started with my Stand store. July of 2023, I started with branding tips and guides and coaching people on social media because that's what I had done for so many years. And it wasn't until I had my second son that I realized actually I'm not passionate about this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And I just want to give this story to back up what you're saying around you need to be authentic to yourself, because when I completely switched my brand, and my branding now is around helping people with healthy living, non-toxic swaps. I created my first Stand store recipe book.
Nice.
And since I've done that, my Instagram has exploded. I was at a kind of losing followers on my Instagram for a bit. And I think my audience could almost feel that, just kind of like the dwindling fire in me of like,
Yeah,
I don't know if this feels authentic anymore. I don't know if this feels me anymore.
totally.
And when I made the switch, which was this past fall, so fall of 2024, I grew in like 30 days, like 13,000 followers on Instagram.
Nice.
Just saw like a huge, put out a freebie on my Stan Store, a free guide. It was like in a couple days, 1,500 people signed up for my free guide. And I was like, okay, there's room here for this. And I had this lie playing in the back of my mind around like, nobody wants more healthy living stuff. Nobody wants more of that. You know, the real money is helping other people make money. And what I just want to like share that to back up what you're saying is actually when you are most authentic to yourself, not
Yes.
only does it feel good,
Yes.
but it works and it's really refreshing. So I couldn't agree more.
It's the passion coming through, right? Like
Yeah.
that surge of growth you had was your real passion, the energy you felt around that. It's like at some point you were passionate about what you were doing before, but you've been doing it for so long. Like I'm impressed you did it for that long. Like I like that sounds like I don't know if I could do it. And so you're finding that passion in what you're doing, and that manifests like very tactically in your content. Right? People can feel that energy from across the screen. They might like consciously recognize it, but like it shows up in like the effort you put in, the quality of your content, how fun the content is, whatever it is. So I'm really proud of you for making that pivot, because it also takes a lot to have the strength to shift out of like an old identity and like move into something new like that. So it's really cool.
And it does. And it's especially, I had built an email list of like 13,000 people in that business from scratch starting in 2023 when I started my Stan Store. It was July 2023 when I launched my first Stan Store product and my first digital product. I was like, this feels like it was like crack. It was like, this feels so cool to be able to create something on Canva,
Yeah.
upload it, make money doing it. I'm like, I'm addicted, instantly addicted. And I had built this and relationships with clients. I opened a couple cohorts. I was coaching clients, and I love these people dearly, and I love to talk about business, and I love to talk about those things. But for whatever reason, my just passion shifted, and my identity started to shift as I added another little one to my family. And I just want to give permission to anyone who's listening, like, you can change, you can pivot, you could maybe you started a Stan Store a year ago and you haven't done anything with it, and you're like, well, what's the use now? Like, you can revive that thing, you can change the branding completely, you can put a whole new photo on it and then restart at any point. So on the tail end of that, I'd like to ask you, okay, so let's talk a little tangibly around Stan Store itself.
Sure.
What is Stan Store? What does Stan do? For the listener who's like, what are you guys talking about? Let's give them the lowdown on that so we can then maybe go into some more specifics and nitty gritty on how to use it.
Great. So the high level here, y'all, is Stan is the simplest and easiest way to start your online business. And so break down, what does that mean? So if we break down, like, you're going to be making content, doing whatever you're passionate about. If you think about, there's actually a lot of crap that comes with that you don't think about initially. So like, do you have a website? How are you going to accept payments? I don't know how to code. Like, how am I going to build this website and take payments? And also, like, you mentioned a Canva guide earlier, Erica, but like, how do I host that somewhere and then get that automatically delivered to a lot of places and blah, 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 blah. And like, how do I host a course and build a community and all this stuff? Basically, Stan is all of those things in one place. So your courses, your digital product, your community, your website, it replaces your website, and you can do it all in a couple of minutes. Like we do like timed runs of new people, and it takes them like 5 to 10 minutes to set up their Stan Store. And so it's just super simple and easy. And so there are two reasons why I started Stan. I built Stan, the first version, for my own account for two reasons. One is because I used all the other softwares out there, like the link in bio redirect and like the big clunky course thing and all this stuff. And it's so hard. It took me dozens of hours to set it up. I was like, no, I'm just going to do this better. Like just in one place, easy. So it's that, it just saves you dozens of hours, which I think is the most valuable thing. But the other rational piece of this that I'm really proud of, and I think this comes from my immigrant roots, is just how affordable Stan is, right? So I mentioned all these pieces of software. Each one of those is like $99 a month for your courses, and then you have to buy a website hoster and all this stuff. Stan is just $29 a month. Like that's like the Costco kid in me. Like you got to get the bulk deal, rotisserie chicken deal. Like we're really, really proud. 0% fees, by the way. So $29 a month, no payment processing fees, which is other platforms charge us. We're really, really proud of like your courses, your community, your coaching bookings, your digital products, your webinar, like whatever it is, all directly in your link in bio. It takes 5 minutes to set up, the simplest way to get started. So that's broadly Stan.
I'll admit to you, John, there was like multiple times last year where I got caught up in these people talking about these other platforms, and I'm not going to name any names, but there was, this, you need this platform for this specific funnel or this thing for this thing. And I would get caught up in it, and I would like start a trial account. And what you were saying about the hours it would take to set something up, or the complication, or how much, I'm like, in 7 days, I'm going to have to pay $99. Like, do I really want this? And every single time I came back to Stan, I'm like, no, I'm loyal to Stan. There's no better place to be. So when you talked a little bit about the things that you can do on Stan. So again, we're thinking the creator who's listening right now, you're a stay-at-home mom. Maybe you want to create some type of a guide for your audience who is going to benefit maybe through a recipe guide or through a organizational tool or something that you have in your back pocket that you can help someone with. So what is the process for them? How would they actually go and do that? Like, obviously we don't have a visual, which we will on our YouTube channel. We'll pop up some screenshots so that our audience can see that. And I'll show the back end of my Stan, but what would they actually go in and do?
Literally, all you do is you sign up for Stan. There's a big purple button that says add product. You click add product. Then you go in, you type the name of your product, you fill out your little sales page of what you want to describe it as. You press upload, you upload your file, you press publish, and then bam, you have a working store online that accepts payments. Like, that's actually it. I wish I could show people the visual here, because I will race through it in 45 seconds and be like, wait, that's it? Like, it's almost like anticlimactic when we do the visual demo, because it's like, oh wait, we're done already. But that's literally the process within Stan.
It's genius. It's so good. And I've been an online business owner for 14 years, and there's nothing that's simpler. So, okay, we talked about the basics of how Stan works and how, you can set it up so simply in, as you say, a few minutes. But now someone needs to sell it. And as we talked about in the beginning of this episode, you've created at this point however many tens of thousands of online business owners through Stan. But I'm sure you have seen some commonalities in how are these people separating themselves from the rest in terms of they're actually making sales, what they're seeing. And what I love so much about Stan that's very addicting as well, is it when you log into your back office or we'll call it your dashboard of Stan. When you log in, you can see at the top the number of what you've made in total. And it pops up there. And when you see it grow, it's like this addicting feeling. You're like, oh my gosh, like it's a game. It's so, the way that you guys have set it up is so good, because it just makes you excited to get out there and share your product. But I'd love for you to give some tactical things on what does someone need to do to be successful in selling their product. What have you seen work really well in your top creators?
I'm going to give you all lots of different tactics, but they all start with one thing. And this is the promise I would ask you guys to make yourself in terms of your own success, which is just show up every day. Like, even if it's a small, tiny win of like, oh, I responded to one comment, or like I took 5 minutes to think of like one content idea. I've met tons of billionaires at this point. I've seen tons of successful millionaire online entrepreneurs through Stan, met a ton of very famous content creators at this point. The only consistent pattern between all of them is just that they never gave up. They like literally persisted. Like, there's no overnight success. No, you crank or you grind for like 6 months, years to like have your payoff moment. But if you promise yourself that, aka if you never quit, you never lose, like you will succeed. So that's the high level. So please take that energy into 2025 of like, just believe in yourself, like build this thing for yourself. No one else is coming to save you. Like, go do this for yourself. You owe it to yourself. Now, tactically speaking, what does that look like on a day-to-day basis? So the number one thing, if you think about the math formula of how you get to sales, you need traffic, you need eyeballs, you need people to look at you. And so there's all these different ways to do that. One is what we're talking about, alluding to, is organically building an audience, which I think you should try to do. There's also other ways you can do that. You can run ads, right? You can like pay Facebook for ads. And so some people are actually very successful doing just Facebook ads and not doing an audience. But either way, you want to get eyeballs. And so you have to make content in some form every single day, or else no one's going to know that you exist or the value of what you can give to people. So that's number one, that they're always doing, is every single day thinking about content, but they're doing it within a lens here of how do you maximize marketing conversion. So there's specific ways. If you follow the best people at monetizing, so Abigail P would be a great example. She teaches us a lot. Like, one of the specific things that a lot of our folks do is they leverage this concept of a flywheel. What I mean by that is, what's the best way to sell something is for you not to sell it, but for someone else to sell it for you, because they believe so much in it. And so, as an example, I've seen almost entirely all of our top customers. I haven't seen anyone who's a top grossing revenue generating customer who doesn't do this. Almost every day on their story, because it's such an easy post, they're screenshotting at least 1 or 2 testimonials of their existing customers. So you're going to hustle out the door and try to get your first few sales. And once you get those first few sales, do everything you can to out deliver value for those people. Like really do everything you can to just like make their day, make their life, really out deliver on your core value proposition. Cause then they will be your best salespeople. Your customer, your best salespeople. Cause they will be like, John, like literally changed my life. Like literally went above and beyond, did X and Y thing, helped me get this thing. Like you would be stupid not to work with him. And so that's a huge tactical thing that I'd push folks on is like, do right by your customers. And if you do right by them and overly right, they will be your best salespeople. And you just make content out of that. And you create this flywheel, right? Like you have your first few customers and then they get you your next few customers. And then that's actually a bigger pool. And then now you have more testimonials and more testimonials and more testimonials. And so it becomes this flywheel that's really, really key. I think to really generating like a lot of successful conversions, because a lot of people will make a lot of content and build an audience, but they don't know how to sell because they're worried about being salesy or what have you. And there's like, for example, using testimonials, you don't have to feel salesy. Someone else is selling for you, and you can just authentically be proud of how much value you give to the world.
That's so good. And I think that your stance on, I mean, in my experience, when I first started my Stan Store, it took, I think it was July to within 8 months, I hit about $100,000 in sales with my Stan Store. It was like so exciting. Yay. But I look back, I'm like, what really worked? Definitely sharing testimonials, sharing screenshots of what people were saying. But it's what you're saying as well as over delivering. When people would open up my digital product, when they would see it, they're like, wow, like the intentionality that went into this. This is an over delivery of way more than I imagined that I was going to get. Those like little things I genuinely think make you, for anyone who's listening, is like, everyone's doing something about fitness. Everyone's doing something about wellness. We'll just wow people. Like give them so much value
Totally.
that they're just going to be like, holy cow, like I need to tell my best friend about this. I need to tell my neighbor about this. I need to talk about this because it's so freaking good. So having said that, what are some of the mistakes that you see when it comes to creators who are maybe they're just, they said they signed up, they put a digital product inside their Stan Store, but sales aren't coming in. What are some of the mistakes that you see?
Number one is they think it's easy. To be clear, I don't want to delude anyone into thinking this is easy. Everything worth having in life generally takes a lot of hard work and effort. And so you have to have the mentality of like, I'm going to get punched in the face a couple of times and I'm going to live and I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be better for it on the other end. What I mean by that is a lot of people like post their first video and it'll flop, or they'll launch their product for the very first time and it'll flop. And they'll very understandably take it really personally. Like, I think what's really beautiful about this whole entrepreneurial journey is that it makes you face your insecurities and your anxieties. And if you're strong enough to get through that, you become a better person, deeply self-confident, deep belief in your own agency. Like that's why I believe so much in this journey and why we do what we do. But you have to have the mentality that the first few times, likely it's not going to work. And even if it does kind of work the first time, that means you're still at like 1/100th of your true potential. Because like anything in life, business, content creation, launching and iterating on a product is just a skill you have to build over time. And so if you're deluded enough to think like, oh, my first time we're going to be good, like, and then you're going to get super disappointed on the other side because you get rocked by the lack of feedback. You just have crickets usually, and so you just have to iterate. So not having the iteration mentality of like, oh, this is going to take me 100 tries, 100 pieces. Like I tell people, if you're really into this, commit to me to posting 100 times in a row, and I guarantee you'll be successful. If you don't get there, then that's on you. But I guarantee if you do this, you will be successful because you'll learn from it. And so what you need to do is you need to take the little bit of positive feedback you get and you double down on those patterns, right? And you double down on whatever that is. And so that's probably mistake number one is people just like don't double down and iterate. They just give up.
One thing you guys do is you coach your creators, and even when I hit a certain milestone, there you guys have different programs for your ambassadors, and it's really, really cool. But I think one thing that you guys, kind of like a common thread I've seen across all of it, not only just from your team, but now also hearing your story and a little bit of where you've come from and your mom and all of that. It's like there's so much mental toughness there, and there's so much mental resolve that I think that you kind of put into your people of, if you're going to be a Stan creator, like you just got to keep showing up. Even on if anyone follows the Stan Instagram account for 3 days, you're going to see there's a common thread of, did you post today? Did you share today? And so I think that you should speak to the way that you guys really are coaching your people with their mindset, because it's like you said, it is going to be hard. But if there's any other tidbit you could share of something that's even helped you as a founder and I can't imagine that it's been an easy road building Stan.
I think the thing that I've learned about through this process, there have been many times where I've wanted to quit. And that's why the never give up thing is so core to us as like a value, is like, if you just persist, you will make it. Every single time I've doubted myself, I think about how the hardest part of this journey isn't actually the tactics. Like the tactics are easy. You show up every day, you post content, you take the data of that experience and you're like, how do I make this better? And you should do that every day. It's actually really straightforward. What's hard about it is the emotions of this experience, like the ups and downs, the way that we feel so personally tied to the outcomes and the insecurities that brings up for us. And so the thing that's gotten me through, and this is mistake number two, is the purpose I feel behind the mission. So if the mistake a lot of folks make, understandably, because I was in the same basket, is at first you're just like, yo, dude, I just need to put food on the table. Like I just got to survive. I want to be successful in this way. Totally understand. I was the same. The switch that flipped for me in life in general, that completely changed my life from a wealth outcome across not just financially, but the more important areas of wealth in life, which is like your relationships and your fulfillment and your satisfaction, was when I realized, oh, if you give, if you just help other people and you focus on serving others, you serve yourself. It's like almost selfish in that. Like it's like just serve other people. And I think the way we're literally wired as human beings, like we just get immense satisfaction from that. And so for me, what I'd encourage folks to have is obviously like you want to build your own, be successful. I want you to have that. One thing that would get you through the toughest of times is having a mission. Like whether that's like, I'm going to take care of my family and make sure to retire like my parents and take care of them. Also make sure my kid never has to stress about going to college or whatever it is that they want to do. Having that mission there, or like in Stan's case, like the mission of like, I know we are trying so hard to build a company that does net good in this world. Like within the institutions of and systems of capitalism and all this stuff, like how can we build a company that's a net good that inspires people to be the best versions of themselves? And that mission to me and the feelings and emotions I get from that and the human connection I get of like hearing our customer stories, hearing my team stories of how they've grown as people, like so beautiful of an experience, like that helps get me up on my worst days. It's like, no, I got to show up for them. Mm. So that's something that I would say, like, try to figure out for yourself, like, what is your why?
And I think for every mom listening, you know exactly what John's talking about, because, you know, I have my phone right here, and you can see my two kids. I don't know if you can see with the, it's like literally, it doesn't matter my emotion of the day, how I feel the day, whatever. It's like these kids count on me. And like you said, your moms are probably some of the most successful because we just get it done. Like we don't have another choice.
Yeah, you have no other choice. That's so.
There's no other choice. It's like, you know, and I'm here recording this episode while my husband and my mother-in-law are with my kids upstairs, right? Like, so it's like, I got to do it. I got to get it done. And that's how I build my business. So I just, for every mom who's listening, or any human who's listening, individual who's listening, who wants to change your life, it's exactly what John is talking about. So John, a couple last questions for you, because I think we could probably get really nitty gritty on Stan, but again, you just have to go. I'll include my link below in the show notes. When you click on it, it'll invite you to sign up for a 14-day free trial. Go and try out Stan Store, set up your first digital product, post it on your Instagram, just see what happens. You have no idea what could happen. But for those who are just diving into their Stan Store, or maybe they want to like get a refresh, what is your favorite, maybe underrated feature that Stan has that people need to use more of?
So you learn in life that there's like no silver bullets. I've learned that in life there's one silver bullet. And I'm wondering if you've seen it before. It's the Stan order bump feature. So what the order bump is, y'all, is, you know, when you're like going on a checkout and it's like you're buying, and then all of a sudden it's like, but wait, one-time offer, you should get this. Like you've already put in your credit card information, you've already committed purchase, and you're kind of like, screw it, I'll get it. So that feature alone pays for itself on the pro tier of Stan for folks. Really quickly, it's something like a 30% upsell rate. Like it's kind of insane. It's literally like, it is a free lunch. It is like literally just include that little box and include like an upsell of some sort. And that's one of my favorite things when people realize that and they turn it on, like, holy crap, John, like what? It's a really cool feeling for people. So I would highly recommend using that and thinking about that, because it's these small little things that we do at Stan that we've like A/B tested everything to all possible extents. Like this is one of those things that you guys should make sure to leverage in your business. It'll just like increase your income by, 20, 30%. So
Oh my gosh. I'm going to make sure every single one of my pages has an order bump
You need to
now.
make sure. Yeah, yeah. You need to make sure.
Done. And I just looked at my phone and I got 2 Stan Store notifications as we're talking because I
That's
have the
sick.
app. So as you just said, listen, you guys, it's addicting. Like I said, order bumps. And is there anything cool that's coming for Stan? I mean, I know you guys just added a DM feature. There's some really
Yes.
cool stuff. There's new community. Is there anything else that you can leak or anything that we can look forward to in 2025? When
I
it
would
comes to
just harp
Stan?
on the DM automation that we just launched. So like this is you see everyone on some like comment this word and we'll send you the link and it improves your conversion rate because people we're all just lazy when we scroll social, right? And so before you'd have to spend like and it ramps up with how many messages you send at other places, like hundreds of dollars just to like maintain your audience. So once again, at $29 a month, because like you just have this DM automation now that connects to your sales pages on Stan. So you can be like comment dream or comment whatever it is or comment lifestyle, and then you'll send your Stan sales page links automatically to folks, so they'll be able to convert immediately. And we're very proud of once again that's included in the base $29 per month here.
That's crazy. That's included in the base
Yeah,
account. Wow. You guys are like, you're doing the most. That's so generous.
we're trying our best, you know.
And you're doing great. John, where can everyone connect with you and follow you? Actually, like also you have kind of an awesome YouTube channel. Like John's actually like while he's also like running Stan, you also put out your own epic content. I'm like, we
Very
need a
kind
whole episode just on how are you doing that?
it's a fight to stay sane, but you gotta love what you do. Yeah, I'm happy to connect anytime with anyone. You can just find me on all different socials. Like I think Instagram I'm most responsive, or LinkedIn too. Those like DM me on those platforms anytime. My handle is at Jayhovy, JAYHOOVY. I'm a real human being. Like I love meeting you guys. Like I know like we're recording this podcast right now, but truly like the best part of this is hearing your stories, especially like if you're looking for help on like, hey, like kind of need some help on like how do I like monetize this or like I have this nascent idea. This is my favorite part. Like please truly feel free to DM me anytime. Just mention that you're from Erica's podcast and like DM me. I'm happy to chat anytime, give you guys some thoughts. So
You're awesome. Appreciate you. Everyone go set up your Stan store today. Go make some money in 2025. Why not?
yeah, go do it.
Do it.
Go build your dream.
Let's go. Thank you, John. Thanks for being on today.
Of course, happy to.
So there you have it. If you loved this episode, make sure that you sign up for your own Stan store. You can literally get a free trial, 14 days for free. Check it out. Set up your own digital product. Seriously, there's a link that I included in the show notes. You can also find the link in my Instagram bio at Erica Auckland and try it out for yourself. My goal with this episode is really just to help you see that there are options for you to make an income from your phone, from wherever you are, so you can be with your babies, you can buy organic groceries, and you can spend time doing what you love more. If you love this episode, make sure you leave a 5-star review and subscribe. When you leave a review, it helps to get our content out to more people. And if you know of a friend who's wanting to make money online in 2025, share this episode with them. We'll see you next time.